We are counting down the 7 most misleading cereals Canadians are eating for breakfast. From colorful kids' favorites loaded with sugar to so-called healthy adult brands masking dessert-level ingredients, each pick makes the list for turning marketing myths into morning routines. Which cereal disguises itself as the biggest health trap of them all? Let us begin with number 7. Fruit Loop sits on nearly every supermarket shelf in Canada, bursting with colors that promise a fun start to the day. But behind the rainbow, each 30-gram serving delivers 12 grams of sugar, almost half the daily limit for a child, before milk is even added. The label lists sugar right near the top, and a typical Canadian bowl is closer to 50 grams, which means about 20 grams of sugar in one sitting. That's as much as some chocolate bars, with less than 2 grams of fiber to slow the crash. For a food sold as breakfast, it is dessert by another name. Lucky Charms takes the sugar game to another level by mixing oats with colorful marshmallows, essentially candy disguised as breakfast. The Canadian Nutrition Facts table lists 43 grams of sugar per 100 grams. In a bowl that matches what most people actually pour, about 55 grams, you are eating nearly 24 grams of sugar before adding milk. That is almost an entire day's worth of added sugar for a child, all before the first bell rings at school. Fiber clocks in at just 3 grams, offering little to slow the sugar rush. Marshmallows are not a bonus, they are the main event. Cinnamon Toast Crunch has built its reputation on the comfort of cinnamon and sugar, evoking memories of homemade baking. Yet the label tells a different story. Each 100 grams contains 32 grams of sugar, about 8 teaspoons. For the average bowl, that means around 16 grams of sugar before milk is even added. The first ingredient is not whole grain, it is refined rice, which breaks down quickly in the body. Fiber sits at just 3 grams per serving, offering little to slow the rush. The result is a rapid spike in blood sugar that fades fast, leaving hunger and cravings in its wake. The warm, familiar flavor masks a reality closer to candy than a balanced breakfast. Frosted Flakes looks like a straightforward cereal, just corn flakes, nothing flashy, but every flake is coated in a layer of sugar that transforms the entire bowl. The Canadian Nutrition Facts label lists sugar at 38 grams per 100 grams, which means a typical 48-gram serving delivers around 18 grams of sugar. That is nearly 5 teaspoons, all before any milk is added. Fiber sits at just 2 grams per bowl, offering little to balance the rush. The sugar glaze is not just for taste, it increases surface area, making every bite sweeter and more tempting to pour extra. The simple appearance hides the reality. Frosted is just another word for sugar, and the bowl adds up fast. Cap'n Crunch is engineered for more than breakfast. It is a snack disguised as cereal. The label on a Canadian box lists 44 grams of sugar per 100 grams, higher than most candy bars. In reality, many people eat it dry, straight from the box, grabbing handfuls throughout the day. A typical 40-gram handful delivers about 18 grams of sugar, almost 3/4 of a child's daily recommended limit before milk is even considered. The secret isn't just sugar, but the science behind the crunch. High amylose corn, a glassy sugar coating, and an oil glaze create a texture that resists sogginess, making each bite as crisp as a potato chip. This design encourages repeated snacking, turning a cereal bowl into an all-day source of sugar. With only 2 grams of fiber, there is nothing to slow the rush. Snackability, not just sweetness, is what makes Cap'n Crunch a hazard on the shelf. Trix arrives in bright fruit-shaped pieces that promise a playful start to the morning. The box is covered in cheerful fruit imagery, but the reality is all color and no substance. There is not a trace of real fruit, just artificial flavors and dyes that mimic the idea of fruit without delivering any of the nutrition. The Canadian Nutrition Facts table lists Trix with 38 grams of sugar per 100 grams and fiber at only 2.5 grams. For a typical 50-gram bowl, that is about 19 grams of sugar, more than 3/4 of a child's recommended daily limit in one sitting. The fruit branding creates a health halo, convincing parents that they are making a better choice. But the numbers tell a different story. Sugar outweighs fiber by more than 7 to 1, and the sweet taste masks the lack of real nutrients. The result is a cereal that looks like fruit, tastes like candy, and leaves kids missing out on what real fruit provides. Granola and protein cereals line the shelves with promises of energy and wellness, but the numbers tell a different story. A standard 55-gram bowl from many leading brands delivers 11 grams of sugar and about 240 calories, matching or exceeding the sugar in cereals marketed to kids. Some granolas pack 20 grams of sugar per 100 grams, and the fat content climbs with added oils and nuts. Health-focused packaging distracts from the reality. These so-called adult cereals can rival the worst offenders for sugar and calorie density. Checking the nutrition facts table exposes just how far the health halo can stretch. Across all 7 cereals, one pattern stands out. Marketing hides sugar, not nutrition. For Canadians, the real health risk is in the label, not the bowl. Choose with eyes open.